How Alexander the Great conquered the world at 22. By the age of 22, one man had already reshaped the known world. His name was Alexander, and this is how he did it. A childhood built for greatness. So welcome to the channel. Here we break down the world's greatest books, explore history in depth, and uncover the ideas that shaped civilizations. My goal is to make complex topics simple, engaging, and easy to understand. If you enjoy learning something new, make sure to like, subscribe, and join the journey. New videos every week. Alexander was born in 356 BC in Pella, the capital of Macedon, a small kingdom in northern Greece. His father, Philip II, was a fierce and brilliant warrior king who had already turned Macedon into the strongest military power in the region. His mother, Olympias, was fiercely ambitious for her son and told him stories that traced his bloodline all the way back to the hero Achilles. From the very beginning, Alexander grew up believing he was destined for something extraordinary. That belief was given shape when, at just 13, Philip hired the greatest mind of the age, the philosopher Aristotle, to be Alexander's personal tutor. For years, Aristotle taught him philosophy, science, medicine, and literature, including Homer's Iliad, the epic tale of Achilles at Troy. Alexander reportedly kept a copy of it under his pillow for the rest of his life. It wasn't just a book to him, it was a blueprint for the kind of glory he wanted to achieve. Around this same time, Alexander had his first public moment of greatness. A trader brought a wild, powerful horse to Philip's court, a horse so violent that no one could ride it, and the king's men gave up on it entirely. But the young Alexander noticed something no one else had. The horse was afraid of its own shadow. He calmly turned it to face the sun and rode it easily in front of the stunned court. He named the horse Bucephalus, and it would carry him into battle for the next 20 years. Becoming king. In 336 BC, everything changed in an instant. King Philip was assassinated at a wedding celebration, and in the chaos that followed, Alexander, when only 20 years old, was declared king of Macedon. It was a dangerous moment. Rival nobles, neighboring tribes, and Greek city-states all wondered whether this young man could actually hold on to his father's kingdom. Alexander answered quickly and ruthlessly, crushing rebellions and securing his control over Greece within a year. The message was clear. He was not to be underestimated. Crossing into Asia. With Greece secured, Alexander turned toward the real prize, the Persian Empire, the largest and richest empire in the world, and the traditional enemy of the Greeks. In 334 BC, he led his army across the Hellespont Strait into Persian territory. As he stepped onto Asian soil, he threw his spear into the ground, a symbolic act declaring that this land was now his, won by the spear rather than given by birth. Soon after, Alexander arrived at the city of Gordium, where an ancient wagon sat with its yoke tied in an impossibly complex knot. Legend said that whoever could untie it would become the ruler of all of Asia. Rather than trying to painstakingly unpick it like everyone before him, Alexander simply drew his sword and cut the knot in half. It was a small moment, but it revealed something important about how he operated. When the rules of the game didn't favor him, he simply rewrote them. Facing the Persian king. In 333 BC, Alexander met the Persian king Darius III in battle at Issus. On paper, the odds were against him. The Persian army vastly outnumbered his own. But instead of playing it safe, Alexander did the boldest thing imaginable. He led a cavalry charge directly at Darius himself. Faced with the sight of Alexander bearing down on him personally, Darius panicked and fled the battlefield, abandoning his own army. The Macedonians won a stunning victory, and just as importantly, the myth of Persian invincibility was shattered in front of the entire world. Alexander then moved south into Egypt, where he was welcomed not as a conqueror but almost as a liberator, since the Egyptians had long resented Persian rule. While there, he made a pilgrimage deep into the desert to the Oracle of Siwa, a legendary shrine. What was said to him there was never fully revealed, but he emerged believing he had been named the son of the god Amun. From this point on, Alexander increasingly saw himself not just as a king, but as someone touched by the divine. The empire falls. The final confrontation with Darius came in 331 BC at Gaugamela, in what is now northern Iraq. This time, the Persian army was even larger, reportedly outnumbering Alexander's forces several times over. Yet Alexander used a clever wedge-shaped cavalry formation to punch straight through a gap in the Persian lines, driving once again toward Darius himself. Once more, Darius fled rather than risk capture, and this time, his empire could not recover. The Persian Empire, the greatest power the world had ever known, collapsed. Alexander was 25 years old when Gaugamela secured his place in history. But the truth is, the foundation for that victory, the discipline, the daring, the reputation that made enemies flee before him, had already been built by the time he was 22. By 22, Alexander had already changed the map of the world forever, and he would not stop until he reached the very edge of it.